Straight to the corner.
Bola, three. Good.
Step back three. That's a good shot for three.
Stepping through off the window, good. Stepping through the raindrops and the finish on the right hand.
And everything's going the Boomers' way with back-to-back threes. The Boomers, a WNBL chance.
Round 10 of the Cygnett WNBL tips off in the nation's capital with a Wednesday night clash between two teams desperate for a win but for very different reasons. The Bendigo Spirit faced the Flyers and Boomers last weekend but lost to both. A crushing 46-point defeat to the Flyers, followed by a much improved performance but still a 9-point loss to the Boomers. Having now slipped to third, they must bounce back to keep pace with the league leaders. Meanwhile, the Canberra Cats will happily take a win, any win, to end their 12-game losing streak and avoid equalling an unwanted club record. Competitive in patches, they're now hunting a four-quarter performance to break the drought. It's round 10 WNBL action. It's the Caps and the Spirit at the National Convention Centre in Canberra. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our ESPN WNBL Game of the Week here each and every Wednesday night on your home of hoops, ESPN. Jason Bennett alongside Championship coach Laurie Chiswick. And Laurie, we've got the Caps coming off, well, looking for their first win, and we've got Bendigo coming off 2 losses. What are you expecting tonight?
Oh my goodness, I sort of am a little bit concerned for Canberra. As you mentioned, Bendigo are coming off of 2 losses. That's uncharted territory. They haven't been there before. So I sort of fear that Canberra might feel the force of their desire to get back in that winning column. But we know that Canberra are a real class act team. They're full of hard workers, and I have no doubt they will fight till the very end.
Yeah, Kristen Peel's saying the vibe within the group has stayed remarkably positive. They're still very focused on improving, working, getting better and getting that first win. Let's check out the league ladder through 9 rounds of action, and there's been some top 2 movement with the Southside Flyers leaping up into second spot after their great weekend. They've narrowed the gap to the Boomers back to just a single game. The Spirit have dropped to third as a result. They're alongside the Flyers on 3 losses, with the Fire effectively 1 game further back in 4th, then the Lynx lurking another game back in 5th position. Well, let's welcome in the third member of our commentary team this evening as we head courtside. It's good evening and welcome to Candy Hertz. And Candy, it's been a hectic week for the Canberra medical staff.
It sure has, Jason. Hi to Laurie as well. Now, here's the thing tonight. 2 different teams here, both very hungry, both for very different reasons. You'd expect Bendigo to be licking their wounds after losing to those 2 Melbourne teams, but let me tell you, they are firing and ready to go. Canberra still hunting for that first W next to their name. But yes, you're right, Jason. It's going to be a really tough one for them tonight. 3 key players are going to be out. Alex Bunton not suiting up tonight. That's due to a minor hip flexor injury. It is quite a blow to the team given her impact this season. And unfortunately, no Schwagmeyer-Belger. That's due to a niggling knee injury. And Britt Smart out with a hammy injury as well. Now, that's 3 big outs for this team. But let me tell you, this stadium is known for having a very good 6th player to bring out. And they are going to bring them out tonight. They are a loud crowd. They're here to have fun. They're here to support their team, no matter what the win-loss is. And they are going to be an important part of the team tonight.
Thanks, Candy. They might need a couple of extra singlets to get some crowd out there, Laurie, because with those numbers coming down, they are down to basically 7 or 8 fit players, Canberra, and no Alex Bunton tonight. What does that mean for the Caps?
Well, that's a big out for them, especially against the Bendigo Spirit, who we know have got some legitimate good inside players in Kelsey Griffin. But if we look at some keys to the game for Canberra, they've got to play some team basketball, and that's at both ends of the court. So I think they really need to work to set each other up, set some good screens, keep some good spacing, good passing, really look at more assists. And the last thing is composure for 4 quarters. They've been competitive, Jason, for till halftime, 3-quarter, but when that opposition lift the defensive intensity, they have to maintain their composure, strong with the ball, and do not rush things.
Meanwhile, the Spirit have built their success largely around defence this season, being ranked 3rd in the league. Laurie, where's their defence at right now?
Well, the last couple of games, they've actually averaged 96 points against them, so they need to get back on track, really play disruptive defense, make sure they really stick to their principles, and minimize their turnovers. They have to take care of the ball so that they can play that possession game and really make sure that they're improving every single time they step on the court.
So a number of Spirit players with a history in Canberra as we take a look at the Canberra lineup there with Kristen Veal as their coach, their first-year coach, and Beck Pizzi stepping in, Laurie, as their tall in place of the injured Alex Bunton. As Candy mentioned, a hip flexor issue, hopefully only out for 1 or 2 weeks, but a big job for Beck Pizzi.
Well, it is, and she's played some quality minutes for them, but she has come off the bench every time. Burrell was quiet the last game, only 2 points, only took 3 shots, so she is definitely going to have to be a little bit more involved. But a big shoulder, Melbourne and Swain, they need to really step up.
So Kelsey Griffin, Kelly Wilson both played in a championship together in Canberra. Alicia Froling, Abby Werung, Tessa Levy, Coach Kennedy Kariyama, all have spent time with the Capital organisation. Also, as we take a look at their starting 5, a much more settled lineup, plenty of experience and talent there on the floor for the Bendigo Spirit.
I think settled is the right word, Jason. They've had that starting lineup for a while now, so they can build on it. Everybody knows their roles. The bench players coming in know their roles, so they'll take this right from the jump. Let's see what happens.
Round 10 to tip off for the Wednesday night clash in Canberra. Cygnett WNBL. Can the Caps come up with their breakthrough win, or with the Spirit dusting themselves off and returning to their best? Now, ESPN WNBL Game of the Week. Canberra and Bendigo at the National Convention Centre. Kristen Veal telling us today they're going to have to play small ball. They really don't have much choice. They don't have the height that Bendigo have. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out as we get underway. Our ESPN Game of the Week. We'll have a restart, a misfire. Canberra come up with first possession. This is Burrell, got a huge role to play tonight, as does Jade Melbourne. And there's the third of that trio, Shanice Swain. Can those 3 get hot tonight? They play unpredictable basketball. They're going to have to mix things up. We'll get Laurie's thoughts on small ball in a moment, what that might mean. Melbourne was looking for the pass to the corner, gets it there for Munga, who steps on the baseline. Shot waved away. So, Laurie, we talk about small ball, and Kristen says we're going in to play small ball. What does that mean, and what are we looking for?
You don't have your normal, legitimate bigs as a 4 or 5, where they might set up in the block and the low block, the high block. So you'll see a lot of 5 out. You'll see a lot of trying to use their foot speed and their speed against bigger players.
They certainly have the size advantage through Maley and Wilson, and then they get it inside to Froling, matched up with Beck Pizzi, who does enough there.
Great
Wins
defense.
that first inside battle. Great confidence boost for Pizzi. Munga, she's been a revelation. Back to Melbourne. Can she get hot tonight? Off the front of the iron, and away comes Kelsey Griffin. A Canberra favourite over the years, and why not? Brought them great success. That pass from Wilson through the hands of Maley.
And that's what I was talking about, one of the keys. They need to take care of the ball. That was an unforced error there. That was just a wayward pass. Right idea, but they can't afford that against, any team.
Melbourne to Swain. 2 of the most exciting youngsters in the competition. Link up again, back to Jade, pops it over the top. You can see the idea, looking for Pizzi underneath, just a little bit too much on it.
I have to say the first 2 offensive possessions for Canberra, I've been impressed with their player movement and how they are working together and really trying to set each other up for something that ended up in that high pick and roll, just the pass wasn't able to be executed.
Wilson to Maley to Ali Wilson, and now back to Anna Lee. Froling. Ali Wilson, shot clock down to 6. Will go herself. Flashing in there was Maley. Picks up her first board of the night. Won't be the last.
Well, it won't, and that's got to be key. Whoever is guarding Maley, that's just got to be a focus. But great defensive stop again by the Capitals.
Burrell gets out in some space. She pulls up, goes herself, won't drop. Still waiting on the first points of the night. 2 minutes in. Wilson to Griffin. Here's Maley. Up against Munga. Tries to get to a position. That was a tough shot. Here goes Jade Melbourne. She'll put some speed on. She's got Burrell. Will she go herself? She will. Opening points to the Caps.
Good decision. 2-on-1 situation. Melbourne kept it in her hands, was just reading the defense. They didn't commit. She went herself. Great job.
Maley to Wilson. Now to Kelly. Froling looks to back in against Pizzi. They lose the handle again, and here's Burrell. They've got a mismatch. And the opportunity goes begging there for Jade Melbourne. But they're getting some looks early, Canberra.
They certainly are. That was not good defensive transition by the Capitals. Look at Jade Melbourne coming into your screen, just clearly beats the player down the floor by sheer effort.
Kristen Veal, as we mentioned, buoyant about the vibe in her group. They're 0-12. She said you never know it going to the gym. This group's so motivated, it's so upbeat and positive. They know where they're at, they're working, they're learning, they're desperate to improve. Here's Griffin. The Spirit still can't get one to go. 3 minutes in. Munga puts some speed on it. Now she'll pull out. Back to Melbourne. He calls the shots here. She wants movement. Pizzi. Munga. Melbourne will take on Maley. Works to the corner for Swain. Griffin in her face. Swain tries to get loose. Now she's got Maley to deal with. Shot clock down to 4. And Wilson's going to come up with it. And a foul there against Shanice Swain on a broken offensive possession there for the Caps.
Good persistence by Alex Wilson to keep up the court here, and then, you know, I think people were waiting for a shot clock violation, but she just kept going. Do not ever stop until that whistle blows.
Now Ellie will go to the line for the first points of the night for Bendigo. It's been a scrappy start for them, a little sloppy. 70% career free throw shooter, Ali Wilson. 20 for 29 so far this season. And Bendigo are on the board.
You can see Megan McKay is into the game early, taking out Alicia Froling. Maybe just to get that real size in there, a focus point for Bendigo.
Ali ties it up. I get the feeling the Caps will be happy with a low-scoring scrap tonight. They don't necessarily want to shoot out.
I agree, Jason. I think if they can keep the possession as long as they can.
And Munga draws a foul, driving to the hoop.
Personal foul number 1 for Nicole Munga.
It's a really good example of the offensive playing, finding the defender. I mean, she got called for a charge there, but, you know, search out the defender.
Maley. Mr. Griffin backs in against Munga. Spins, hooks, and drops. Bendigo lead for the first time.
Griffin would be very familiar with these rings.
She's got a couple of rings of her own from her days in Canberra. Melbourne takes on Kelsey, kicks it out. Here's Tonks. Great start for Lizzie. Came into the game under an injury cloud with a calf issue. You see the right calf is strapped. Exactly the start she was looking for.
Nice penetration by Jade Melbourne to draw those defenders. Tonks ready to shoot. It gets fouled in the process and is here at the line for a 4-point play.
Averaging 14 minutes a game in her 12 games so far this season. Can't add the extra, but Munga will come up with the offensive board. Pizzi. Melbourne sets her feet and nails the 3.
I would not be surprised if we don't have a timeout coming soon, because this is not the defense that Bendigo should be playing.
Wilson from the corner for the response. Throws up an air ball, but Maley tidies it up for 2. Halves the margin back to 2 points. Melbourne to Tonks. Swain against Ali Wilson. Shot clock down to 5. What can Shanice come up with? She pulls up. And away comes Griffin again. Off to Wilson. Goes inside to McKay. Foul called and a frustrated Beck Pizzi.
And that's exactly what McKay is expected to do. She runs to that point of the ring. She made a target. She got her defender on her back, and a good find by Kelly Wilson.
5 centimetre height advantage for Meg over Beck Pizzi. Quick inbound to Kelly Wilson. Wairunga's into the game. Gets it inside to McKay. Kicks it out to Maley. Good ball movement from Bendigo. Shot won't go. Griffin knocks it away and will be a Canberra ball.
That was a great job by Nicole Munger to come across and help, recognizing that Pizzi was going to be left on her own. The ball was released and then she had to close out to the shooter, so great effort.
So Munger inbounds to Swain. 19-year-old. Excitement machine. Back to Munga. Crossover from Melbourne. Ankle breaker. Can Munga finish? Yes, she can. Great start for the Caps here.
They are just playing with so much energy and enthusiasm.
Griffin tries to find McKay with the bounce pass. It will still work for the Spirit. Wayrung. Wilson. Griffin from the corner.
Great answer, Kelsey Griffin, just steadying the ship for the Spirit.
Back to a 2-point game. Melbourne against Wayrung. Lovely feed to Pizzi, won't drop. Griffin having a way on the boards at the moment. Maley pops it over the top. Help D comes across from Munga. She and Melbourne get there in number to knock it away from the bigger body of Meg McKay. Individually, they're going to be mismatched for size, Laurie, so it is important tonight they get in and clog the paint and work together as a team on D.
Well, they do, and then they have to make sure that they're trying to get a contested shot. You know, they're trying to put pressure on, and then make sure the likes of Annalie Maley don't get in and get a second chance opportunity.
Sheree Kalea, Pizzi, here's Munga. Will she take on McKay? She will. Lovely finish off the glass.
Good recognition that she has the foot speed on McKay, so really attacked her, and that's what we were talking about, small ball.
Big screen from McKay on Kalea, but another turnover here for Bendigo. Ball security at the moment to be frustrating Kennedy Kiriyama. Good pressure from Canberra. Kalea off to Swain. She works on McLean. Tough finish, won't quite spin. Away comes Annalie Maley. So 3 minutes to play in the opening term. Canberra up by 4. Maley, McKay, Griffin again, set in the corner. Shot waved away.
Personal foul number 2, Nicole Munga.
So Munga picks up her second foul.
That's something, Jason, that's going to be really critical to Canberra, is that starting group really can't afford any fouls. They've got to be able to play big minutes tonight.
Wayrung inside to Griffin, works on Burrell. Off to Maley, matched up with Melbourne. McLean, can she get past Swain? Back to Maley, shot clock to 2. Annalie's going to have to pop one up from the free throw line, and she does. Margin back to 2 points. Melbourne, a little hesitation move on McLean, who stuck to the task and did well. Good opportunity for Cassidy McLean, who Kennedy describes as one of the best on-ball defenders in the competition. Says she's highly underrated for her defence. We saw it there against Jade Melbourne. Well, I mentioned earlier the exodus of Canberra players and coaches from Canberra to Bendigo, and it hasn't escaped the attention of Jade Melbourne and the Caps.
One of the words we've described
Opening term.
Well, they'd be really happy with that. Now the challenge is to continue that. You know, a timeout's called, what will be thrown at it differently, and to keep the focus, keep the composure, we talked about that, and go about business the same way they've been going about it.
And from Kennedy Kiriyama's perspective, hasn't been the start they wanted.
Well, no, I'm a bit surprised. I would have thought that they would have come out really firing to make amends for the last couple of games that they played. And whilst they were losses, they were against some very quality, top-notch teams.
Candy was inside the Bendigo huddle. What did Kennedy have to say, Candy?
He was not composed, team, really angry.
wide open, and that's often heads to the sideline for a rest, replaced by Maley. Scores are level with 41 seconds left in the opening term. Burrell to Melbourne. Lovely back cut there from Tuliak. Receives it back, kicks it out to Swain. Shots off the iron and Wayrung. 3-second differential between game and shot clock here. Maley pops up for a jumper.
Really good push by Bendigo Spirit, getting that ball, getting that early look.
Final opportunity of the opening term here for the Caps. Melbourne will hold it up. Tuliak comes up to lay a screen. Shot clock down to 5. To the corner for Swain. In and out. Entertaining opening term. The Spirit stuck to the task. They were jumped early by the Caps, but fought back well, and at quarter time they lead it by 2 points. It's Bendigo 20, Canberra 18.
Come on now, don't go. Grab all the legs out, not the best. Yes. Can you do it? There it is. Another team. One more team.
Quarter time in Canberra, ESPN's WNBL game of the week. It's the Caps hosting the Spirit. Bendigo surging late for the 7-point run late in the opening term to hit the front and lead it by 2 as we get set for second quarter action. Jason Byrne alongside Laurie Chiswick as Jade Melbourne receives the inbound off to Kalea. Now Burrell. Melbourne to Tuliak. Looking for an option. Wants to go to Melbourne, then goes herself against Maley. Can't come up with the points, and away scuttles Wilson. On the break to Wirrung. Good work there from Bendigo, turning defence into offence, and they lead by 4.
Wirrung has been impressive the last couple of games coming off the bench. She really has an impact whenever she's on the floor.
Burrell up against Froling. Lovely step. Again, just can't quite make the shot. Bendigo ball. And a foul.
The Capitals have actually had some really good looks at the basket, getting their feet in the paint. They've missed some ones that, you know, you would probably say are gettable, and they just haven't had the capability of finishing.
And when you look at the numbers, they had the same amount of scoring, same amount of shots, put the same amount of shots up in the opening term, and we're only out rebounded by 1. So it was a really good opening term from Canberra, but as we've said tonight, the challenge for them is to maintain the rage for the full 4 quarters. Here's Kelly Wilson. Melbourne gets a boot in as we head courtside to Candy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but Kelsey actually raced off the court holding the right hamstring, looking pretty unhappy. She's been out the back since then, getting it stretched out. Had a quick chat to the physio. They said it's just some tightness, so hopefully that really is all it is.
Thanks, Candy. We saw Kelsey come off in the final minute of that opening term. Here's Froling. Knocked away by Swain, and it will remain a Bendigo ball. So they got some good looks in that opening term, Canberra. Just needed a couple more to drop. Swain in particular, 1 for 5. Some open shots from the corner. Here's Wilson, speaking of open shots. That one's a little heavy. Maley comes up with the board. Can she finish herself? She can, and 1.
She just constantly moves on the flight of the ball. So as soon as that shot, Kelly Wilson's released that, she is already on her way to the boards. And she just has an uncanny ability to come up with it, to finish, and get to the foul line.
Just an elite rebounder. Reads it so well, as Laurie mentioned, in flight. Melbourne tries to shake Weirung, go herself. She does. Jade up to 7 points. Leads the game now for the Caps. Munga has 5. Well, Maley has 6 for Bendigo. Kelly to Ali, and now Froling. Matched up on Pizzi, who does well. Knocks it away, and here's a chance for Melbourne once again. Waits for the support to arrive. Izzy looks to offer a screen. Melbourne. Burrell wants to step back. Lovely step on Maley. Can she finish? Oh, that's sweet.
That deserved to finish that move, I tell you what.
Brilliant from Ray Burrell. Maley gets rid of Pizzi. Spin move from Froling, and Bendigo respond.
Pizzi did a good job of recognizing Maley wanted to go right, cut her right off, but good pass by Maley.
Kalea. Burrell calling for it, doesn't get it, looks a little frustrated. Pizzi. Melbourne. Burrell still set up in the corner. That's where Jade goes. Great recognition, Jade Melbourne.
I like how they're playing as a team. Good screen by Pizzi, good roll. Got the defenders going. Melbourne recognized Burrell was in that corner.
Maley comes back against Ray Burrell. Fights for her own board. It'll be a Canberra ball. Maley touches the baseline. Here's another look at that play, Laurie.
Jade Melbourne's making really good decisions off that dribble, which is nice to see for somebody so young, because often they can get their feet in the paint and it's that decision-making at the end that can cause some difficulties. But she's got a really good mixture of going herself or recognizing when the defense has collapsed and kicking it out to a receiver spot.
Jade Melbourne is 20 years of age, playing WNBL game 41 tonight. What a huge upside she has over the next 15 years in Australian basketball. Here's Munga against Ali Wilson. Burrell, she offers support, she offers movement, which opens space here. Kalea. Won't drop. But then McKay throws it away.
Coming back on the UC Caps, number 3, Lizzie Thomas.
Good energy on the Canberra bench. Burrell to Melbourne. As we heard, Lizzie Tonks has checked back into the game. Melbourne used the screen beautifully to get wide open.
So Bendigo have really got to talk about their on-ball rules there, because that's just way too easy.
Munga tidies up, off to Jade Melbourne. Thought about the step on Weirung. Instead, she goes to Pizzi. Off the front of the iron. Munga, heavy collision with Wilson. Back out to Jade. To the corner for Tonks. Not this time. So the Spirit in a scrap right now. They trail by 1. Wilson. Kelly to Ali. To Maley. Screen from McKay. Annalee can't finish. Another opportunity here for Canberra. You could see the look away. Pizzi just couldn't haul it in. Jade Melbourne being creative, putting it on the floor, trying to bring other teammates into the play and just be a little bit unpredictable, I guess, Laurie, in their offense.
I might have made the highlight reel had that gone off. Canberra have 6 turnovers so far to Bendigo's 5.
Ellie Wilson gets to position herself. That won't go either. McCain a scrap, but Melbourne comes up with it, having a huge impact here, Jade Melbourne. She's got that great change of pace. Swain, Tonks, Melbourne. They show a little bit of it to Wilson. Melbourne flicks it back to Tonks. Prepared to share it around here. Swain pulls the trigger.
Jason, I'm really impressed with Canberra right now, and not so impressed with the way Bendigo, they're not putting enough pressure. They're not up and in like they need to be.
All the energies with Canberra at the moment. Swain and one. Laurie, I'm sure you've been there many times as a coach before. You come into a game like this, in a game where you're warm favourites, and you just get drawn into a bit of a funk early. You've got to now try to fight your way out of it if you're the Bendigo Spirit.
Well, you do, but I'm surprised they coming off of 2 losses. I would have thought that they would be very focused, know exactly what they, wanted to work on, and I'm sure that they did. But for whatever reason, Canberra's outplaying them right now, no question.
Rebound 16-15 in favour of Bendigo. If you're just joining us, no Alex Bunton for Canberra. So their tallest player is Beck Pizzi at 190.
Often when a team has the adversity that Canberra do in this game, with all these players missing, they're playing a top team, that can really galvanize them and lift them and know they're real underdogs. And you can just see by Jade Melbourne's expression there and her body language, that's the way they're feeling, and that's the way their whole bench is feeling right now. And that can be dangerous against a team. And we know that Kelsey Griffin is out right now, so I'm sure that's playing on a few people's minds. Where is she? What's she doing?
Pizzi to Melbourne. He's just a ball of energy. Tonks. Away comes Maley. Puts it on the floor, hits the accelerator, drives hard to the basket, won't go. Foul is called. I think it's going to be on Munga, which might be her 3rd.
Personal foul, number 3, Nicole Munga.
So as Laurie mentioned, foul an issue for Canberra tonight, given they really only have 8 players, 9 in the rotation, plus Abby Solway, the DP player, is Maley. Short on the first.
Well, it certainly helps that the Caps are shooting right now 46% from the 3-point line. They really are lighting it up from outside, so they just have to continue with that mentality.
Annalee makes the second, and it's a 6-point game with 4:20 left in the first half in Canberra. Melbourne, Swain, good disruptive D there from McLean, knocks it away. Bendigo get the turnover.
And I like that from McLean, trying to force her to catch it further from the 3-point line, trying to get a hand in the passing lane. That's what you have to do to be disruptive.
Kelly Wilson off to Maley. Here's McLean. Wayrung wants to try and step past Tonks. Screen came from Froling, and pouncing on it is Jade Melbourne. Swoops in, gathers in one motion. Tonks is wide open under the hoop. Doesn't finish, but is fouled in the process. Hits the floor hard. More creativity from Jade Melbourne. Eyes light up there, Laurie. She saw Lizzie cutting to the basket, wide open.
Good court vision. She just saw her out of the corner of her eye, made a great pass past it just slightly ahead of her so she could run onto it, and just got knocked pretty hard.
Lizzie Tonks from Coffs Harbour originally, 1 year of college in the States, and had a real breakout 2022 in the NBL 1 East. She was the MVP, Players Player Award, averaging 18 possessions, 11 rebounds a game. It's the Caps by 8 points. This timeout brought to you by CTM Sport. If you're considering travelling interstate with your sporting team, consider CTM Sport to take care of you. Competitive, innovative, customised travel solution, ctmsport.com.au. You can see the energy and the belief in the Canberra bench. Laurie, what's the message from Kristen Veal right
Well,
now?
you can just see them all leaning in, you know, really focused on what Veal's having to say. And I think she'd be saying something alluding to what you talked about earlier. Let's not just hang in there now. Like, we're playing well. We're out competing the Bendigo Spirit right now. So let's keep doing that. Let's keep pushing the ball. There's still 4 minutes left in this quarter. Keep pushing the ball, get it through hands, shoot with confidence, get your feet in the paint, because they're shooting foul shots at 83% and they're a relatively good foul shooting team. So I think it's all about being aggressive still and not taking any backward steps.
And from Kennedy Kerryama's perspective and the Bendigo Spirit, they look a little flat. They've been a bit sloppy. How did they suddenly jack it up?
Well, I think they've got to focus on some little things. You know, forget the score line for now, but concentrate on the processes that got them there. So offensively, run their structure, set really good screens, run the floor really well. You know, go after the offensive boards. And defensively, you know, they just have to. They have to play their defense, which they are known for, which we just haven't seen the last few games.
Morrell fouls Annalie Maley, taking it to the rack. We'll head courtside to Candy, who was in Kristen Veal's huddle.
Yeah, she was a lot calmer than Coach Kerryama, I'll tell you that, guys. She just had one message, and that was to be hyper aware, keep their focus, keep their awareness, and keep their game plan on. Also, I just had a quick catch up with the physio from the Bendigo bench. Unfortunately, Kelsey Griffin out for the rest of the game.
Wow, that's a story. Thanks, Candy. Very interested to find out what the situation is with Kelsey.
Let's just hope it's sort of cautionary and that, you know, she's just sitting out this game knowing that they've got a number of games down the track.
Yeah, they're in the middle of a busy stretch right now, aren't they, Laurie?
Well, they are. They have 3 double weekends. So one last weekend, nice finish there from Swain, but double last weekend, double this weekend, double the next one. So really 7 games in 19 days. It's a big workload.
Froling, Maley thought about pulling the trigger. Wilson back over the top to Alicia. Kelly, Werung to the corner for McLean. Good effort, Maley. Comes up with the board and keeps it alive for Bendigo. They trail by 8 here with 3 minutes to play in the opening half. Wilson looking for an opening. 5 seconds on the clock. Froling grits the teeth, goes to the hoop herself and draws a foul in the process.
Froling did a lot of work early to get that position inside. You can see her finding her player, holding that, and then finishing strongly. Eyes went straight up at the target. Little fist pump at the end.
So big size advantage there, 12 centimetres on Chloe Tuliak. Froling got the position, exploited it, and then finishes with the extra. Margin back to 5. Inside 3 minutes in the opening half. ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week. Great to have you with us. Action coming from the National Convention Centre in Canberra. Melbourne can't finish. McLean the other way. Wide open is Werung. And a good 30 seconds here for Bendigo as they start to haul in the deficit. It's back to 3 points. Similar to the opening quarter. The Caps led for the majority of the term and Spirit surged late. In the end, they managed to hit the front. There's a foul called on Kelly Wilson, who arrives a step late on Kalea.
She tried to sell that she traveled when she pushed her, but the refs weren't going to have any part of that.
So the challenge for the Caps, they've been making the running for most of the first half, is when Bendigo do surge at them to hold their nerve, stay aggressive, as Laurie mentioned. Keep putting points on themselves. Melbourne. And playing up-tempo basketball. Tonks. Will she go herself? She tries to. Create some room. Werung did enough. Froling. Simple basketball. And there's that mismatch again with Froling on Chloe Tuliak. If you get that one-on-one under the hoop, Laurie, just go to it every time.
Absolutely, and that's great vision by Abby Werung. But again, Froling getting to that point of the rim, holding that seal, demanding the ball, knowing that she's got a mismatch and able to finish.
This timeout brought to you by Cygnett. To stay in sync with the latest WNBL news and highlights, head over to Cygnett. We've got their New Year's sale going on at the moment. You can keep your gadgets charged up. High-quality tech at cygnett.com. And we thank them for their ongoing support of the WNBL. So a good couple of minutes here from Bendigo. They've reduced the deficit back to 1 point.
I think that's what Kennedy would be talking about. He'd be positive this time out, and you know, encouraging them these last 2 minutes to come up with a series of stops. So whether that's let's get 3 stops these last 2 minutes, and these are a couple of things we want to run. I would keep looking at the mismatch to Frawling. Why not? It's working.
So Shanice Swain went 1 for 5 in the opening term, Laurie. She's now 4 for 8 and up to 11 points. Got some good looks in the opening term. Melbourne's got 9 and Burrell's 7. Tonks has got 5 and so's Munga. While for Bendigo, 11 apiece to Frawling and Maley. 5 apiece to Wilson and Griffin, who is off at the moment with some hamstring tightness.
That's a foul count is a little bit of a worry for the Capitals, with 3 both to Burrell and to Munger.
The latest word from the Bendigo bench is that Kelsey Griffin will be out for the rest of the night. Here's Melbourne. 2 to play in the first half. Swain, as we mentioned, started to get hot in this second term. That one short. And the Spirit now with a chance to regain the lead. So similarities to this opening term. Kelly to Ali to Maley. Frawling sets the screen. Does Maley go herself? She does. Can't finish. There's Frawling under the hoop. Keeps it alive once again. And Bendigo now starting to have a little bit more time in possession. Some important rebounds, giving them second opportunities. Wilson to Frawling, and she finishes. And that mismatch, for the first time tonight, they're really starting to exploit it, Laurie.
Well, they are, and I think that's really smart. She scored 3 baskets in a row for them, and it's great that her teammates are happy to give her the ball. There is the mismatch there. She's scoring, she's utilizing it. Keep going there.
It's up to 13 points. Swain to Melbourne. Critical basket here, can't go. These are the moments when the Caps just need to hold firm.
Well, I feel right now they're going a little bit one-on-one. There's not been as much player movement or shifting of the defense. It's sort of one pass and a shot.
Maley, Frawling again in good position, but she got right under the hoop on that occasion. Important stop here for Canberra. Can they regain the lead in the dying seconds of the first half? Melbourne happy to take a little bit of tempo out of the game. Slow things down a touch. Shot clock to 5. She wants to take Frawling on. Pizzi comes up with it. Did it hit the rim? It did. So they've got a fresh shot clock. And then a jump ball. Possession arrow is with Canberra. In fact, it's not. It's going to go the other way. Possession arrow now with Bendigo. So great opportunity here for the Spirit. As the referees just come together and confer. With 23 seconds left in the opening half. And confirmation, it will be a Bendigo ball. No, it's not. They've gone back the other way. We were right the first time.
We were right.
Swain, Tonks. Back to Shanice. They'd love a late basket here to regain that lead and head to the break with the advantage, and Shanice delivers. Still time here for Bendigo to respond with one last basket. Timeout called with 10 seconds left in the first half. Critical basket there for Shanice Swain. She's up to 13 points.
Really nice take, and then good call straight away, a timeout called by Kennedy, so that they can, might as well plan a last play. You can't carry your timeouts through, so they would be talking about what they want to set up for this last 10 seconds, see if they can get a good shot. And Veely would be talking about how to defend that. Maybe show something, go into something, but don't make it easy for them.
So you can see Alex Bunton standing there behind Kristen Veal. She's out tonight with a hip flexor. Hopefully only for the next week or maybe 2. Lizzie Tonks was a game day decision with a hamstring. Fortunately, she's out with the calf rather. She's out there playing. Britt Smart was also a game day decision, but they've decided to sit Britt tonight with a hamstring problem. And Alison Schwagmeyer-Belger got a knee issue that's just a little bit grumbly at the moment, so she's hopefully only a week or so away. And that's the story so far tonight. Kelsey Griffin is out with hamstring tightness for Bendigo.
Oof, that's a lot of injuries you've just named there, Jason. And that's the thing for Bendigo. They have had such an injury-plagued season so far. Let's see what they can do stopping Bendigo in these last 12 seconds.
Kelly to Ali, who puts up the three. Maybe still time. Froling keeps it alive. Wilson. Alex will get another look, this time from the stripe, and she makes it right on the buzzer to give Bendigo the lead once again at half-time. Eerily similar to the first quarter, Laurie, when Canberra made the going and led for most of the quarter. Bendigo surged late and just got their noses in front. They led by 2 points at quarter time, and now they lead by 1 at the half.
Well, that was just a great last-minute recognition by Ali Wilson and Kelly Wilson to make that extra pass and pull up. And wow, that was a good way for the Spirit to go into this halftime break.
So it's Bendigo 40, Caps 39. Here's Candy with Jade Melbourne.
Jade, you guys came out with some massive energy there. Do you know that it took 2.5 minutes before those first points were on the board? You guys have done an exceptional job to stop them. How are you feeling about that first half?
Really good, you know. We know we came into this game on demand, so we knew we had to just come out hard and we've got nothing to lose. So, yeah, I'm really proud of the effort so far. We know Bendigo are a tough team, so we've tried to stop them. We know we're going to stop them in transition, but, yeah, we're in this game and we think we can win this one.
Now, the conversation that's been had at the end of almost every game that you guys have had is the last 2 quarters you need to keep that composure. How do you do that now?
Yeah, so for us, it's actually just 2 minutes. Like last week, Townsville scored 11 points in 2 minutes. So it's just a matter of now we can't lapse. We let them come back. We were up 7. So it's just a matter of staying up and about. And we know we can do it. Our offense is ticking. Slaney's on fire. So, yeah, we just got to keep doing what we're doing.
As are you, Jade. Looking forward to the next half.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's been a game of swinging momentum. Both teams have led by decent margins. The Caps were up by 8. Bendigo have been up by 6, but at the half, it's a 1-point game. It's Bendigo 40, Caps 39.
I decided to stay here in Australia, develop my game in the WNBL before heading over to America, just because I think WNBA is such a big jump. I had the opportunity to play against some great WNBA players last year, and I just think I needed another year of developing my game, my body here in Australia, and then hopefully after another really good season with Canberra, I can make that jump to the WNBA.
Melbourne, season opening, and takes it.
That's what she's so good at, you know, her read of the game.
Billy and I have worked together now. This will be almost our third year working together. I don't reckon I'd be in the position I am today without her. So the fact that now it's come full circle and she's coached me as a professional, it's really exciting. We picked up right where we left off. We have a great coach-player relationship. And she's brought in high character people. So it speaks volumes to the coach she is. Put in a great system that suits us, not the way she wants to coach. And yeah, we're just going to thrive off her.
Such energy as always for Jade Melbourne. Melbourne, team on her back, and brings it back to 7.
I think one of the words we've described ourselves as this year is unpredictable. I think we have such a good mix of good character people that have flown under the radar a little bit, and just really good athletes and people at the end of the day. So it's going to be a really fun year. All us girls are really excited, and yeah, I'm just excited to be on court with girls.
Well, she's one of Australia's basketball's most exciting young talents. Still just 20 years of age, Laurie. She's from Gippsland in country Victoria. She came up to Melbourne to get experience as a development player with the Boomers, then turned her back on college basketball, was at the centre of excellence, had that breakout season in the hub in 2020. And as we mentioned during the call, just 20 years of age. She's only played 40 games, Jade Melbourne. What makes her so good, and how good could she be?
Well, first of all, she's such a pleasure to watch. She looks like she enjoys her basketball. And I think she's like a sponge out there with all the, you know, she's been around the Opals. She's had some really good mentors. She talked about Vili and what she's meant. And it's just the range of things that she can do at such a young age. And then you add in that leadership quality, and she is certainly going to go places. But I just love the way she approaches her game, her craft.
She's a ball of energy, isn't she? Well, we've got some big breaking news here on our ESPN WNBL Game of the Week regarding the Opals captain Tess Madgen. Tess has been ruled out for the remainder of the WNBL season after her surgically repaired knee pulled up sore after her return to the court against the Flyers on January 14. She played 17 minutes that night, got through the game okay, but the knee hasn't responded too well since. So Tess and the Boomers medicos making the difficult decision to sit her for the remainder of the season in order for that knee to fully recover. The Boomers had, of course, previously signed young guard Mila Goodchild, which has already proven to be a shrewd signing, Laurie, and now she'll have an even greater role to play. What impact does this have on the title race?
Well, for one, I feel bad for Tess, and we wish her all the best in future recovery. But what it means, I mean, she hasn't played yet, so they are still sitting on the top of the ladder without a Tess Madgen having played really any significant role whatsoever. But what I think that the question mark is that she was always going to be able to come in and pinch it at the point, you know, be another body out there. So somebody like Christy Wallace plays big minutes, big role out there at the point, running it, facilitating, scoring herself. So it could just not having that extra body there, I think, could play a fact down the track.
Yeah, it takes away a bit of a safety net for the Boomers, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, in this game, it's been a fantastic contest in the first half. It's a 2-point game at quarter time, a 1-point game at the half, and the Canberra Caps, Laurie, serving it up to the Bendigo Spirit.
Wow, I don't think any of us really expected this, but this is a great ball game, a 1-point game at halftime, and even though they came in with a mountain of injuries, the energy that they came in with, certainly led by Jade Melbourne and Swain. Burrell has been sitting a little bit. She's got 3 fouls, as does Munger. But wow, they were impressive. And for Bendigo, they're without their captain and their leader, Kelsey Griffin. They just need to go back to the basics that have got them to where they are so far.
Take a look at the numbers. Both put up the same amount of shots in the first half, 35 apiece. That rebound number started to blow out a little bit Bendigo's way late in the second term, Laurie. That equated to second chance opportunities and extra points for Bendigo as they fought their way back.
Well, and you can see points in the paint, 24, and that came largely in the last bit of that second quarter when they recognized the mismatch with Alicia Froling, and she just went to work every single time down the floor and was highly successful. So they kept going to her, which was great to see.
This is the big challenge for Canberra now. Kristen Veal telling us during the week that it's after half-time. Teams come out and throw maximum effort at the Caps. Can they respond this evening? It's Bendigo 40, Canberra 39, halftime ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week. Third quarter action next.
I've got a little update for both if you want. I imagine not on camera. However, I can if you want. Sure. I've got a bit more to say about Canberra, so I'll do that first, and then I've just got a tiny bit for Spirit. They literally said nothing to me. No, because I did also get a chance to quickly chat to Kelsey.
ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week coming to you from the National Convention Centre in Canberra. It is the Spirit 40, the Caps 39 at the halftime break as we head courtside to Candy Hertz.
Had a quick catch up with both coaches, guys, and first up, Billy, the first thing I had to ask her was if she's happy with how her team have played, and she had the biggest smile, really happy with her team. She did say that Ray and Munga do need to have a bigger impact this second half, and then exactly what I chatted about with Jade, it was all about composure. She said they really need to make sure they don't push it and steady as they go for this next half. Quick chat to Kariyama as well, and all he said to me was they need to get more points. I did have a quick catch up with Kelsey, and she said, listen, she's just sitting down because it's a bit more precautionary. She just doesn't want to push it with her hammy.
Thanks, Candy. So there's Kristen Field, first-year coach, wonderful player, wonderful career in the WNBL. Starts the next chapter of her basketball life. Laurie, at 0-12, tough for a first-year coach, but she's got some good mentors around her, and she's managed to keep the positivity in the group.
Oh my goodness! I listened to her press conference at the last after the last game, and she is such an impressive young coach, and she was positive. She was insightful. You know, I think they're lucky to be led by her in a situation where it is 0-12, because you know, you can just see the closeness of the group, the improvement in the group, and you know, what a great example this first half is. Their defense has been really good, and they've just been going really hard. So hats off to Veely and her coaching staff. Very impressive.
Well, I mean, you think about it. If you put Kelly Wilson, Kelsey Griffin and Alicia Froling in black singlets tonight, what a difference that makes to the teams, right? So those three players all left Canberra and went to Bendigo over the off-season. Not easily replaced.
No, not easily at all.
Here is Kelly Wilson. Off to Ali. And here is Alicia Froling. First play of the second half. Froling really started to have an impact in that second term. Wilson. Little backhanded flip out to Werung. It's short. They keep it alive. Here comes Kelly again, and she lays in the two. So the challenge now for the Caps to hang in against this physicality. As Bendigo look to ramp up the pressure and the intensity in this second half. Swain had a super second quarter. Melbourne. Here's Burrell. Veal wants more from her. 3 seconds. Munga's going to have to put up a shot. She gives it off. Almost a half court from Melbourne. It's gone! What a shot, Jade Melbourne.
Oh, that was just what you call a buzzer beater, last second fling, and it went in and brought the scores equal.
Well, there's a burst of energy they were looking for in the National Convention Centre. Little defensive breakdown there. Wilson can't take advantage, and Melbourne is clipped on the way through. Wow, what a play, Jade Melbourne. Puts up a prayer from the half court. And the look on her face says it all. Well, not exactly how we drew it up. And she hit the floor hard. But she is such a ferocious competitor. Just a bundle of energy and adrenaline. You interview her at halftime and she still talks at 1,000,000 miles an hour, Laurie. That's just the way she plays, doesn't she? And there she is again. Lovely find through to Pizzi. Good start here from Canberra once more. It's been the back end of quarters that have been the challenge for Canberra. They've started their quarters well. Maintaining the focus for the full 10 minutes has been their challenge. They're back out to a 2-point lead. Wilson to tie things up. Not with that. Here comes Jade once again.
I like to see her slowing it down, directing traffic, getting what she wants out there.
And that's what she wanted. Pizzi rolling to the hoop and draws the foul. So let's talk about Jade Melbourne, the player, in terms of what style she is. She's playing the point for Canberra. Is she a natural one?
I don't think so. You know, when we talk about her involvement with the Opals and where she belongs, she's probably much more of a 2. But if you can work on your craft in the WNBL as a 1 and helping your teammates, and the thing is with Jade is that lots of times point guards become mainly facilitators. She's a scorer too, so I think just any experience that she gets is helping her.
Beck Pizzi, who had been a career shooter at 33% from the stripe, nails them both, and Canberra away to a good start here. They lead by 4. Froling works on Pizzi, sticks to the task, does enough. Melbourne comes crashing in over the top. Good energy here from Canberra. Jade barks the instructions. Just gets it into the half court in time. Off the ball foul. A frustrated Ellie Wilson. Call's gone against her. I think she was feeling it probably should have been the other way round.
I actually like the way Ali Wilson plays defense. She is one that does get up and in. She's got such long arms. She reaches. She's aggressive.
And she's drawn an offensive foul there on Pizzi. She came around that screen.
Any movement when you have that off-ball screen, the refs really are on top of that.
So Bendigo ball, early stages of the second half. It's the Caps by 4, hunting their first win of the season. Bendigo looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. Wilson fires a pass to Maley, works on Burrell, gets to good position. Lovely touch from Annalee.
Annalee's now up to 11 points, 9 rebounds. Actually make that 13 points with that last basket.
Melbourne looking for something. Will she go herself? She will. What a shot! What a start to the third term from Jade Melbourne. A half court and a fadeaway.
I like how Canberra are playing with no fear right now. They're just playing, you know, we're underdogs, it doesn't matter, we're going to go hard, we're going to make life difficult for them. We've got belief. That's the lady that's hurting them right now, Alicia Frawling. They have to find some sort of answer, whether they go and as soon as she gets the ball, they double her, get it out of her hands, make him kick it out, and perhaps, you know, shots from the perimeter. But right now, Frawling is really impactful for Bendigo.
Smart recognition from Wilson as well to get it back into Alicia Frawling. Melbourne can't quite get that one to drop. Maley. She go looking for Frawling. She'll go herself. Frawling will come over the top. Got a hand on it. Whistle blows. Foul called. Home crowd in Canberra. Not a fan of it.
Well, we can tell by the crowd which foul, well, the foul went which way. There's no discussion this time.
Kelly Wilson to Kelly. Maley cuts to the hoop. Does Frawling go herself? She does. Maley over the top. Athletic effort from Munga. Swain comes away with it. It's got Melbourne to the left. Goes herself to Pizzi. Big night for Beck Pizzi. A lot of responsibility on her shoulders in the absence of Alex Bunton. She's having an impact as Wairung takes it to the hoop.
Oh, and Munger just didn't need to do that. But if we just have a look first at that nice pass into Pizzi and finish, but I believe that's Munger's 4th foul now, and she just didn't need to. When you've got 3 and it's in the 3rd quarter, you sometimes just need to let them score.
She goes and sits as a result. Their endeavour and vigour has been important. Just a little overzealous on that occasion. Maybe Wairung can go to the line and make her pay. Back to a 2-point game. There's been very little in it all night. The biggest lead, 8 points in favour of the Caps. Currently lead by 2. Here's Melbourne to the corner for Swain. In fact, it's Burrell. Now Swain for 3. It's short. Ali Wilson to Maley. Working on Tuliak. Tough finish from Annalee Maley. Does it well. And Bendigo looking to get a little bit of one-on-one isolation in offense.
Well, you might,
using their size advantage.
Absolutely, size and experience. Annalee would look and go, okay, I've got a rookie on me right now. Give me the ball. I know I can beat her with my foot speed, with my strength, with my skill, with my athleticism, and did exactly that.
Gives Bendigo back the lead. Messi inbound. No harm done for Canberra. This is Chloe Tuliak. WNBL game number 4 for Chloe, the 24-year-old from the Canberra Nationals NBL 1 team. Her 2nd year at the Caps as a development player. Had a brief break from the game, returned in April of 2021. Had a good NBL 1 season in 2022, averaging 14 points a game, and then came to the development player futures days in late September and tried out to Chloe Tuliak, Laurie, and got an opportunity and finds herself on a WNBL list, and this is game 4 tonight. Great story.
It is a great story, and you have to love the fact, not love the fact that a turnover like that, let me tell you, but that anytime there's injuries, and certainly they've been ravished with injuries this round, it does present opportunities for players like that train still day in and day out. And so to get the opportunity on their home court in front of their home fans is fantastic for them.
Swain to respond. They needed it. Marching back to 1. Kelly Wilson cruises towards the hoop, then finds Maley. Slapped away there by Swain. Here comes Burrell. Melbourne. Critical minutes of the term now. These late minutes have been a problem for Canberra so far. And in recent weeks, Pizzi. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Beck Pizzi comes up with a rare three-pointer. Shoots 23% three-point range in her career. Werung for the response. Yes, indeed. The two teams basket for basket.
Oh, just a little bit of miscommunication on the part of the Capitals there on that shot by Werung. They both sort of left it. You can see the screen. Oh, who's got who? Wide open Werung's not going to let that opportunity pass.
There's a wonderful shooter, Abby Werung. This timeout brought to you by DIY Blinds, Australian-made designer quality window furnishings. Head to DIYblinds.com.au. So still nothing between these two teams. It's been tight all night. What's the message right now from Kennedy Kariyama?
Well, again, I think he's got to be forceful but still positive with his group out there. So they're doing some good things. I think they've got to make sure they take now Capitals out of their comfort zone. So put some more pressure on them. You know, I talked about being disruptive early, and I still don't feel like they're disruptive enough. Kelly Wilson has gotten her hands to a few things. Allie Wilson has too, but just keep making Capitals feel uncomfortable.
From a Canberra perspective, we mentioned these are the critical minutes now, the back end of quarters. They said they've been good at absorbing physicality and pressure, but then they've lost their focus late in quarters in recent weeks, and certainly in the first two terms tonight as we head courtside to Candy.
Listening into Coach Kariyama, all he had to say was to put a whole lot more hand pressure on. He said, we can't be playing with our hands down, so I encourage you to have a look at the hands of the Bendigo Spirit. He also said, no more fouls.
Thanks, Candy. There is Kennedy.
And that's exactly right. When you are being disruptive, you've got to trace the ball. You've got to have active hands and active feet.
Bendigo by 1 point. 4 minutes to play in the third.
There you go.
There's some active hands from Annalie Maley. Cuts off the pass to Melbourne. Pops a little pass to Werung. The Wilsons combine. Screen from McKay. Kelly gets to the baseline. Will she go back to Werung? Wants to take on Swain. Little jumper. Canberra come away with the stop. Shanice, does she light up the Jets? Thought about it momentarily. Went back to Melbourne. Will she take on McKay? She likes that matchup but loses the handle. Allie Wilson, Werung. That's Chloe Tuliak. Charged with the foul.
Personal foul number 3, Chloe Tuliak.
So Abby Werung had oral surgery a few weeks ago, missed a couple of games. Great to have her back. 27-year-old.
Well, she's not only have an impact at the offensive end, I think she's a really good defender. She, you know, really navigates on-ball screens well. She's a good communicator.
And Kennedy says she's so underrated as a defender. Every assignment he gives her, she just seems to get it done, whether it's a Sammy Whitcomb or a Shyla Hill. She just locks on, does her job, minimum of fuss. Melbourne to Pizzi, almost lost it. Back to Jade. Here's the pressure moments that Canberra need to respond to. And Swain does just that. Ties it up once again. Big moments for these youngsters to be able to stand up and handle the pressure. They've found this year they've been able to hang with teams, but they haven't been able to win games, and that's the difference. That's the next step in their development.
Well, it is. It's that knowing how to win close games, finding ways to win close games.
Maley, tough shot. Good defence from Melbourne, who suggested maybe it might have been a hook. Annalie makes the shot. Bendigo get the lead back again.
This is what you call basket for basket, Jace.
Has been all night, hasn't it? Nothing between the teams. Swain. Little hesitation move. Does the finish drop? It does. Gee, she's impressive, Shanice Swain. She's up to 20 points. A future star in the making of Australian basketball, the 19-year-old from Cairns.
She's been so impressive, and she's been so consistent these last 3 or 4 games in her output and what she's bringing.
Tough one for Wilson, good defence there. That's Tuliak, well played. Now a chance for the Caps to push ahead again in the final 2 minutes of the third. Swain, lovely find to Melbourne. And eventually it gets there. Jade's up to 16 points. Shanice has 18. Maley wide open. fight for it under the basket, and Canberra come up with it again. Here's Lizzie Tonks.
That's right. Get it in the right person. Get it in Jade's hands. She's setting things up. They're working well as a team right now.
Tonks looking for an option. Here's Melbourne. Shot clock down to 5. Jade to Shanice. Long range once again. Short. Tonks keeps it alive, and Wilson will tidy it up here. Canberra looking to push back numbers quickly. Weirung to the corner for Wilson. Scrap under the basket. McKay in there, scrapping against Jade Melbourne. And this is a much better finish to this third term. Still a minute to play, of course. But Canberra able to maintain their focus in this quarter, Laurie, where they've fallen away a little in the back end of the first and second.
Well, you'd have to say this whole quarter, they have been focused. They haven't let anything slip. They've, you know, both ends of the court, they've been really ready to go and know what to have to do.
Such a quality team. The spirit is Tonks. They've just found ways to win this year, Bendigo. Can they go on and do it once again here? Shot. Game clock rather to 40 seconds in the third. Maley to tie things up or give them the lead. Weirung goes herself, kicks it out. Wilson, Ali to Kelly. Shot clock to 6. Kelly puts it on the floor. Now to the corner. Through hands to Ali Wilson. No, sir. Pizzy can give Canberra the last look of the term. And the home team can turn for home in front. Wilson puts some pressure on Melbourne. Down to 6. Will Jade go herself? She will. Great defence from Froling. Jade Melbourne giving everything right now. Desperate for that first win of the season. 3.3 seconds left on the clock.
She just has a knack, Jade Melbourne. She really had to extend her arm there over Froling. Froling played pretty good defense there. But wow, she's impressive.
Misses the first. These are the moments for Canberra. She's an 80% career free throw shooter as well. But the pressure's starting to mount here as they go chasing their first win. She makes the second. Now 23 of 28 from the line. And the late shot won't go. And the Caps will turn for home with a lead. They lead it by 3 points. We've got a Wednesday night thriller on ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week. It's the Caps 63, the Spirit 60. Bendigo at quarter time, 1 point Bendigo at half time, and it's 3 points to the Canberra Caps at three-quarter time as Canberra go hunting their first win of the season. The Spirit fighting to snap it. We'll head to the line where she is an 83% free throw shooter.
Oh, pretty good defense by Froling just on that closeout and carrying a hand. She just followed through and got a bit of body contact.
22-year-old from Vegas, played a college ball at Tennessee, and then off to the WNBA with the LA Sparks.
And we've seen her have some big games. We've seen her light up. So, you know, come this last quarter, she's really crucial to this Capitals outfit.
She's up to 9 points. They lead it by 4. Can Bendigo exploit the mismatches? Wilson goes herself. 2-point game.
Just the cool, calm demeanor of Kelly Wilson running the show out there.
Melbourne, sizzling pass inside the Tonks.
I love how Tonks, because every time you cut, you've got to be cutting to score. So she cut. She knew if she got that ball, which she did from Melbourne, she was ready to score. Wilson,
will she go again herself? She will. Kelly being quite aggressive now, looking to score. Generally a facilitator first. And Melbourne strips it away for Canberra. Hits the accelerator, wants to blow past Werung, who does a great job. Oh, good hands, Tonks, and then Werung comes back. Desperate defence from both teams as possession changes hands 3 or 4 times in a matter of seconds.
What a pass that was by Jade Melbourne.
So when all's said and done, Canberra retain possession. Tonks has it. Tuliak offers some movement. Here's Burrell. Works on Froley. Steps left. Lovely finish and one. Cometh the moment, cometh Ray Burrell for Canberra. Pizzy out of the game. Burrell is 188 centimetres, Laurie, but Kristen making the point this week, she doesn't play like a tall.
No. Well, both Munger's only played 14 minutes this game, and she's crucial, so she could still come on. They both will make another appearance, Munger and Pizzy.
Ray finishes. Margin now out to 7. Wilson. Kelly to Ali. Maley. Goes against Burrell. Away comes Jade Melbourne. It's the times now for the Caps. They lead it by 7. They've got themselves into a good position here. Now they need to go on with it. Now Bendigo need to switch things up and fight their way back once again. Burrell against Wilson. Tough finish, great finish.
We said she could turn a game around. The fourth quarter could be her quarter.
Margin out to 9. We come back to those comments of Kristen Veal during the week, Laurie, where they said they get themselves into positions, they need to go on with it. It's not about hanging in, it's not about just being competitive. Well, the time's now. You've got to believe you're 9 points up, can't go away from what's got you there in the first place.
Well, you've got to have that self-belief. And the flip side of it is, Jason, is now the pressure falls on Bendigo. Everybody expected Bendigo to come in and have probably a pretty big margin in this game. And so now the scoreboard pressure is on them, and every shot they miss, they'll be feeling it. So they've, this is an area where they haven't had to deal with before either. So, wow, what a game.
9 points the lead. This timeout brought to you by Aussie Hoops. Had its biggest year to date in 2022. More than 42,000 participants aged 5 to 10. It's the perfect introduction to the game of basketball, and you can register at aussiehoops.basketball to kickstart your kids' basketball journeys. We head courtside to Candy.
Listening in to Kristen Bell, she said to let Jade control the tempo. Burrell's job is just to focus on attacking, and she said to every one of them, switch everything. So look out for that in this next play.
Thanks, Candy.
That's the thing when you have everybody that's, you talk about small ball and everybody's sort of the same size. You can switch aggressively. Everybody knows you're going to switch, so do it straight away.
Let's see what Bendigo have got out of this timeout. Wilson, Werung, back to Kelly. Pops one over the top for Maley, gets to decent position, but look at the numbers collapse in, and they win the scrap as well. Swain blows past Wilson, who stays out of the way. And now we'll kick it back out to Melbourne to set things up. Will she take on McLean? She does. And Cassidy does enough to worry her out of the shot. Maley, good hands, Tuliak. Forces the turnover for Canberra.
Isn't unpredictable that word that we've kept using? You've used, Veely's used it.
Burrell really feeling it in this final term, Ray Burrell. She's putting this Canberra team on her back in the fourth quarter. They're up by 11 and she'll go to the line.
Well, I feel like different players have stood up at different times. So Melbourne, we know what an influence she's had on the game. Swain, earlier on in the first half, she dominated everything she was doing. And now we see Burrell just taking over this fourth quarter.
And then Pizzy's had some great moments. Munger really gave them something early. So it has been a team effort from Canberra. And the result of that right now is a 12-point lead with 6.5 to play. What can Bendigo come up with here? Lovely step from Wilson. Nice feed from Kelly to Ali.
So I think the foul was called before the basket. They waved off the basket. It won't count.
You can see there the ref just saying there's the push and there's the wave away.
And we have to remember for Bendigo, they are without their leader in Kelsey Griffin, who no question obviously adds to the scoreboard and defensively, but she's also her leadership out there, her calmness, her knowing what to do in what situation. They'll be feeling that right now.
So a temporary halt in play as Wilson just pulls Maley aside and gives her a little instruction.
Who loves the Caps?
Canberra by 12.
How much do you love them?
6:18 to play on ESPN's WNBL Game of the Week. Canberra trying to avoid their longest ever losing streak. They're at 0-12 this season, and they're 6 minutes 18 away from breaking the drought. But this Bendigo team can score in a hurry. They've been one of the pace setters all season long.
And what's so impressive, and Candy alluded to this in the opener, is that the fans have stuck by this team even though they have not won a game. You can hear them, they're vocal, they're cheering, they desperately want this win for the team, for the fans, for the coaches, for everybody. But how great it is that their membership's up and that they've got the support.
Had 1,200 at their game last week. It hasn't gone unnoticed by the Caps players and staff. McLean, that won't quite drop, but she's drawn a foul. Kristen made the point during the week that the positivity they've got, the support they've got from their fans who are understanding of the circumstances and the situation that this young team's in. They can see the development and the improvement, Laurie, but the win is just that little bit extra that just reinforces the belief.
Oh, absolutely. And right now with 6 minutes to go, for the Capitals, that's going to be their longest 6 minutes. And for the Spirit, well, I'm sure they're on the comeback trail, so generally if you're behind, it just goes so fast.
McLean gets it back to a 10-point game. Burrell, Melbourne, they combine. They've got some talent, don't they? There's Swain in the corner. Those three alone, all so exciting to watch. Kalea, one of the youngsters. Burrell thinks about the three. Will she put it on the floor against McLean? She will. And she's just feeling it, Ray Burrell. She's up to 19 points.
She has a lovely shot, whether that's from the three-point line or the pull-up from the elbow that we just saw. What a beautiful shot.
Wilson, McLean, great shooter as well. And she nails the three as Melbourne and Maley hit the floor. As we mentioned, two of the most desperate players in the competition. There's Maley and Melbourne scrapping off the ball. A foul there has been called. So margin sits at 12.
Personal foul number 2 for Jade Melbourne.
Foul on Jade Melbourne. And that sends Annalee Maley to the line.
The three-point basket is good.
And the three-point basket will count. So a chance here for a 5-point play for Bendigo. They can effectively halve their deficit from 12 to 7. And aren't we in for a couple of big minutes now, Laurie?
Oh, we are. This is where the Capitals have to hold their nerve. Not go into a shell, but just take some time, work it around, get it through hands.
Comfortable 12-point lead, suddenly down to 7. 5:20 on the clock. Burrell's just going to go herself, and why not?
Swain, that was actually
Swain.
Yes, and they were in a zone, and she just managed to.
A foul call.
Sorry, I'm just, I'm watching both teams drive. So Bendigo were in a zone at the last play phase, and Swain just found herself wide open on that drive. And now Annalee Maley, other end, foul shots for her, and we know that she's a great foul shooter.
Makes the first, goes at 79% career. It's a 7-point game once again, 5:10 left on the clock.
Going back on for UC Capitals, number 33, Nicole Munga.
So Nicole Munga checks back into the game on 4 fouls with 5 minutes to play. Beck Pizzi's got 4 as well.
You can see Bendigo are in an extended zone here. Something different.
Munga, just a ball of energy. Off to Burrell. A little soft foul there on Kelly Wilson for the nudge. So some experience out there. Nicole Munga might only be playing her 9th game of WNBL, but she's a 25-year-old. Has played around the world. Cool, calm head amongst so many youngsters out there right now.
Costly foul sending her to the line.
Burrell hits the 20-point mark. Points just so critical here for the Caps. They've just got to keep scoring. Can't sit on the lead. Keep that pressure on. Wilson. McLean puts one up. In fact, it's Weirung.
Such good execution, such good ball movement. Swung it from side to side. Recognize this swing pass, the kick pass across court. Great shot.
2-possession game, 6 points. Kuliak put some pressure on McLean. Wilson. Can't finish. Melbourne will be happy to slow things down again.
I think that's a good tack. They need to not go negative, but they need to use the clock. They need to shift this zone a little bit.
Burrell. Kuliak set up inside. Munga's wide open from the corner. Huge basket, Nicole Munga.
Having sat for so long and coming and nailing that first time she touches the ball. Woo!
Back out to 9. Maley draws another foul. Huge moment here for Canberra and for Nicole Munga. What a wonderful story. 25-year-old from Central Bucks at 50 minutes north of Philadelphia. Played a college ball at Michigan. Graduated there in 2019. Was a director of recruiting and player personnel at Fordham University for a few seasons. Played a year in Spain. Came to Australia, had a great NBL 1 season last year, averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds a game. And Canberra found themselves in need of another body. She was available, took her chance, and made the biggest bucket of her WNBL career to put them 9 points up. The margin sits at 7 with just under 4 to play.
Well, this is a crucial timeout that I'm pretty sure Veely called it, just to probably talk about the zone that Bendigo have got right now, and it'll be interesting to see if Bendigo go out of that zone now into man-to-man, maybe just for one, or show man, whatever. Just mix them up, get them out of their comfort zone. But either way, she'd wanted to be talking about, if they're in a zone, this is what we want to run. If they are in a man-to-man, this is what we want to run. And a lot of times you have a play that is applicable for either zone or man-to-man.
So much time still on the clock. 4 minutes, a heap of time. Only a 7-point margin.
And Bendigo, give them full credit. They are in 3rd spot in a really tough competition, and they know how to win some of these games. So it'll be really interesting this last 4th quarter.
Jade Melbourne, 17 points behind Swain with 22, Burrell with 21. Well, Maley's got 24 and 11 rebounds for Bendigo, 14 for Weirung, 16 for Alicia Froling, who's dominated in patches.
Well, they've stayed in the zone.
Swain inside to Melbourne, feeds it through to Munga.
Wow. Veely would have a great smile on her face, because I'm sure that's what they drew up out of that timeout. Good ball movement, good player movement.
Margin back out to 9. Spirit need to rally again. Weirung, dangerous from long range, as can Allie Wilson be. Kelly Wilson to the corner. Here is Weirung. Rattles around, and Munga comes up with the rebound. And it was an area we had huge concerns pre-game about the rebound count, but it's only +3 for Bendigo. They have not been able to punish Canberra on the boards, despite Alex Bunton not being available tonight. Swain. Nothing doing there. So back out to Melbourne. Shot clock to 6. Jade will go herself. Maley, and over the top comes Burrell. Commits the foul. Both sides in the bonus, so every foul will send players to the line. As Allie Wilson checks out and Froling back in. And Beck Pizzi now comes back out there as well. Laurie, she's on 4 fouls. Munga's on 4 fouls, but it's leave nothing on the table at this point. You're up by 9 with 2:53 to play.
Absolutely. You just roll the dice on them and say, you know, play defense. If you get fouled out, you get fouled out, but we need you out there right now.
Annalie makes the first. Some big clutch free throws for her in this final term. Makes them both. And the Spirit hanging around here. It's back to a 7-point game. Melbourne, look at the pressure here from Werrung. She gets it into the front court. Now she can set up. Good work, Maylee. And she creates the turnover.
Canberra just have to take a deep breath. Don't go into a shell. Still think attack mode. But right now they need to come up with a stop here.
So Maylee stepping up big in this final term. Try and haul her team up over the line. Wilson back to Annalie, wants to take Melbourne on. That's a beautiful finish. It's a 5-point game, and here come Bendigo.
What a superstar Annalie Maylee is.
Rising to the occasion here. Munga, Pizzi, Swain. Shot clock to 7. Tough finish for Swain, and she's been fouled, so she'll go to the line.
So they went back to a man-to-man here, and Swain just knew that she had Cassidy on her, same height, same ability, you know, so took it to her one-on-one.
Now the pressure of the free throws when you're trying to wrap up that first win of the year. Misses the first.
Jason.
Oh, you can't say commentator's curse. It usually works the other way.
Everybody clap your hands.
5-point game. Maylee takes on Munga to the corner. Froling keeps it alive for Bendigo. Wilson, Werrung, McLean. Pressure on every shot now. And a turnover. Melbourne comes up with it. She'll be happy to just hold it up here.
Good decision, Jade
Chew a bit of
Melbourne.
clock. See something she likes. Try to get a high percentage shot if possible. Munga loses her feet. Burrell for 3. Dagger! Massive basket, Ray Burrell. And look at the energy amongst this Canberra group. Huge basket.
Wow, she's got a game face on, but inside I bet she is just overjoyed. Look at this basket, clock ticking down.
Margin back to 8. And they keep Bendigo at arm's length once again. 1:37 on the clock. And that basket just changes what these two coaches will have to say at the timeout. Changes the complexion. Instead of being a 2-possession game now, it's back out to 8 points.
Well, Veely would just be telling her charges that the clock is in our favor now. The clock is our friend. So when they get a shot up, we have to find a body. We have to keep Annalie Maylee off the boards and then secure it and be strong with it. Because if they don't get a basket here, the Capitals, Spirit, they're probably going to have to foul. So they need to be strong with the ball. Go down to the other end. If they don't foul, if they do score, then you've got to get it through hands. Use the clock without going negative. Easier said than done as we sit here in the commentary.
It's the $64 million question, isn't it? How do you learn to win, Laurie? It's a circular question because the only way to learn to win is by winning. Somehow you've just got to find a way to break through. Is this the moment for Canberra?
And you know, we, as coaches, as teams, you practice these situations. You know, down by 4 with 2 minutes to go, or so you've got some set plays. I'm sure they talked about a 3-point play, the Bendigo Spirit. So we'll see what they come up with here.
1:37 left on the clock. Spirit ball. They trail by 8. Wilson. Here's Maylee. Munga's on 4 fouls, so she knows that. Can't go as aggressively at Maylee as she might like. And Annalie makes it a 6-point game, so we're back to 2 possessions. Burrell gets it into the front court. Look at the added pressure here from Bendigo. Wilson on Melbourne, and an offensive foul on Jade Melbourne. Another plot twist. Here's another look. Shoulder on the jaw of Kelly Wilson. What did you make of it, Laurie?
I think Kelly Wilson used all 400+ games of her experience to force that call.
6-point game. 2 possessions. Can Bendigo come up with some points here? Maley, big shot, rattles out. And again, Kelly tries to pressure Melbourne. Maley as well. And Jade will go to the line. High pressure free throws coming up for Jade Melbourne.
Personal foul number 4. Emily Maley.
Jade, an 80% career shooter from the line.
These have never been bigger in her short career.
23 of 28 this season, and she makes the first. Critical. Back outside, 2 possessions once again. Doesn't get the second, but even better. They come up with the ball through Swain.
Now they do have to foul Bendigo.
Melbourne. Munga. Swain. 3 seconds left. Offensive foul. Good D from McLean.
No baskets.
The basket's waved away. 7-point game, 45 seconds left.
Good defense by Bendigo, but also used the whole shot clock, so that evaporated all that 14 seconds where it was reset. Oh, what a ball game, Jason.
These 2 coaches will sleep well tonight. It's been a real tactical battle.
Well, I think one of them will sleep well. I'm not sure if both of them will sleep well tonight.
That's probably true. The intensity on the face of Kristen Veal, hunting her first win as a WNBL coach. We mentioned her playing career originally from Adelaide. She's at the AIS with the Caps twice, Sydney, Logan, Melbourne. 372 games and 4 championships for Kristen Veal as a player.
So that one foul shot was so crucial to make it that 7-point margin, because now you need either 2 threes and a 2, or you need that third. So they're going to have to get a quick hitter. Virtually they're going to have to foul now and hope they miss.
Can Bendigo come up with something special and pull this one out of the fire?
So they might want to get the ball in Canberra into, you know, if they know they're going to get fouled. Munger's shooting the free throws right now at 90%. You know, get it in her hand.
And that's certainly part of the thinking at this time. But Burrell's an 83% shooter. Yep. Jade Melbourne's up around the 80 mark as well, so they've got options.
They do. And that's part of the job of the assistant coaches and that, to know who to foul, who not to foul.
Maley, Werung, going to want to put a shot up reasonably quickly. Wilson will go herself. Great defence from Melbourne. Wilson keeps it alive. Last second shot makes it. Kelly Wilson. Critical from the veteran. She was waiting for it to go out. It didn't. Gathered it in herself. Made the basket. Keeps them alive. 5 points. Back inside that 2-possession margin. 31 seconds now. Back on the clock. Adrenaline pumping for both these teams for very different reasons. Melbourne. Burrell. And she's fouled quickly by Werung. And Ray Burrell can once again put it back outside a 2-possession game if she makes both.
See, that showed some recognition from the Capitals, that Jade Melbourne, they knew that they'd get it into her to quickly kick it across court to Burrell to bring it up the floor and get fouled. So good, smart play by the Capitals.
She makes 2. They're back outside a 2-possession game. She doesn't, so that leaves the door open now for Bendigo. Just a little crack in the door. And the second one short as well. They need a 3, a stop, and then a 3 or a 2. McLean, Werung, they'll go for the 2 first. It's short. Now Canberra just need to be sensible. Swain, they play a bit of keepings off to work the clock. Melbourne, they've got it.
They have it. How exciting for this ball club.
It's one of the upsets of the season as the Caps break through to end their 12-game losing streak. And this Canberra crowd erupts. The Capitals hand Bendigo their third straight loss. Kristen Veal celebrates her first win as a WNBL head coach.
Well, I don't know about you, Jason, but I have tingles. That is, you know, it's so exciting for a club that's 0 and 12, whatever they are. It's just wonderful.
It's been such a tough 3 months for the Canberra Caps. Looking for something, looking for some return on their investment. Kristen Veal in her first season as a head coach comes up with her first win. And here she is with Candy.
Really, I'm scared to stand next to you. I'm worried that an ice bucket's about to be tipped over us. Your very first win ever as head coach. What a moment here. How are you feeling?
It's not even about the first win. It's just about these girls persisting, playing some really good basketball and getting some reward for that. Like, just a small thing. I feel like when we won that championship at the AIS and I was a goose on the microphone, just so excited for them and so proud of them.
And you managed to keep that composure this second half. How did you do that?
Yeah, I realised, one, they've got to keep the composure, but I've also got to keep the composure. That's why I was lucky with Goz offering us some feedback last week. We carried that through this week. We lead from the front, they followed. Man, they were awesome.
Do you really want to be keeping composure right now? Look at this amazing crowd, your brilliant team. Don't you just want to let out a scream and say yes?
I do. Angus is saying calm. I'm like, these guys have been so amazing. It's not just for these guys, it's for these guys here. I'm glad we got our first win at home. It's a credit to the support. And people say that all the time, but their positivity when we haven't won a game all year has been so calming and so reassuring. So it's amazing.
And very quickly, you said that if you get this first win, you're going to cut down the nets. Are you going to cut them down?
Man, Graffy's not even here. So I was going to stitch Graffy up, but I mean, metaphorically, we'll cut the net down, but I don't know if they'll let us. We got a game here next week, so.
Congratulations, Veal, and congratulations to the Caps, their very first win for the season.
Well done to Kristen Veal and the Canberra Caps. They come up with one of the upsets of the season. They break through for their first win. It's Canberra 92, Bendigo 85.
Never gone away, you know. You'd walk into practice, you wouldn't know we hadn't won a game. That's changed tonight.